Disgusting! Never have I seen such a display of blatant puffery. Never in all my life!
But more on that story later. Good evening, darlings, and the very...
Disgusting!
Oh, I've
Never
got
have
to
I
turn you
seen
down.
such a display of...
Oh, dear. There we are. Right, let's get that going. Excellent. Good evening, darlings, and a very warm welcome indeed to Friday Night Live with me, Boaty. And I'm going to be here with you for at least the next 29 minutes, possibly a little longer. You never know, do you? And here we are, Friday night. The weekend is upon us. And what news have we got? Let's have a jolly good catch up, shall we? So, how are you doing? How's your week been? What are you doing this weekend? What are you looking forward to? And, well, that's it. That's your starter for 10. How are you doing? How has your week been? What are you looking forward to this weekend? If indeed you're looking forward to anything at all. Right, let's see. Who've we got? Lord Stiff Upper Lip is here. Hey, man. Hey, man. How you doing? Jimmy Quinn is here and says, good evening, Boaty and all. Good evening to you, Jimmy Quinn. Dave Smith is here and says, evening, Jimmy. Oh, yeah. HW100 or HW100 or HW100 is here and says, good evening, Betty. How are you? I'm most awfully well. Well, actually, I'm not. I'm not terribly well at all. I had a cataclysmically late night last night, and quite frankly, I've been suffering for it today, and I've been feeling absolutely rotten. Absolutely rotten. Oh, gotta be me. Sherry is here. In at number 4, moving on up. You certainly are, my lovely. My goodness me. Look at you, the early bird getting the worm. Good evening, Boaty, and all, says Peter P. The lovely Peter P. Hello, mate. How you doing? Oh, cheers. Your very good health. Head of the dog. Much needed. Oh, hopefully that'll do the trick. My God, I felt like I'm recovering from an autopsy all day. Andrew Buttigieg, Ivor Spotty Butty is here. A very good evening, Boaty, and everyone in the chat. Skick is here. Going back to the Warrington trip, Skick, it wasn't really a Warrington trip. It was a trip to North Wales. I mean, I know that you're fixated on the Warrington thing because you're from there. Anyway, the car park you visited used to be a famous nightclub called Mr. Smith's. That's quite right, Skip. And it was that nightclub where a television program that you might remember called The Hitman and Her was actually filmed right there in Warrington. And also, did you notice the statue across the road of Oliver Cromwell? No, I didn't. Didn't notice that at all. Barry Scrotter's with us. Good evening, all. Good evening, Barry. Jimmy Quinn, says Barry. Was it you on about the professional struggler the other week? Professional struggler? Gosh. Neil is with us. Neil Gibbons, a.k.a. the Gibbonator, a.k.a. the very, 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 very nice man. Watching my video in the chat, I see. Hello all, how are we? You didn't make that video, Neil. You can't claim responsibility or ownership. But admittedly, it was you who put it in the community chat. The week has been busy, Boaty, says Barry. I'm average. Tug is clean inside and out. Oh, well, average, that's okay. Average is okay. And looking forward to making a curry again tomorrow. Oh, good luck with that. Neil has been working hard. This is the first time I've been back before midnight. Pizza is on its way. I've got Joe here at the moment. Last day at work tomorrow, and then I can chill out. Good for you, Neil. Dave has been sanding a boat today. Oh, we might need to know more about that, Dave. We might need to know more about that. Sanding a boat, eh? Good evening, says Simone. Hooked on classics, of course. Excuse me. Neil says, went out to a TF 160 today. Forgot how much of a great car they are. I drove it up the garage. I drove it to the garage for the member as they had an alternator issue. And he picked me up. It was nice to drive it, to be honest. Right. Well, we had a bit of a conversation about the old 160 the other night, didn't we? I preferred a well-sorted 135. But each to their own. And there's nothing wrong with a TF as long as it's a relatively early TF, so it's still got the Lucas BCU, whatnot. You don't want one with a Petron. You don't want anything with a bloody Petron in it. Hi, Neil. Hi, Simone. Hey, Simone. Hi, Simone. Hey, Barry. How are you? I spent a lot of money on TC today, Boaty, says Simone. Oh, okay. Tell us more, Simone. Yes, Barry, says Jimmy Quinn, one of the best channels on YouTube. Oh, right. Is that the professional struggler? Professional struggler. Right. Not familiar with that one. Did you also, asks Skick, notice the red phone box? There have been a lot of bids for that because it's one with the crest and has a post box on the side. Just mentioning these things in case you do another trip. Thank you, Skick. I will be careful to look out for them. Hi, everyone, says Simone. Captain Mustard is here and says, sorry, I forgot to say hello. Hello. Hello to you, Captain Mustard. Did you not do a live tonight, mate? I couldn't see a live. And Barry says, Jimmy, yeah, I've been watching him. Quite like the channel. The lovely Sophie is here. Hi, everyone. How are we tonight? How are you, Sophie? And how's updates, please? Updates would be good. Oh, message retracted. Right, Sophie has retracted that last message, so I'll go. Message retracted. Please ignore the last message that I read out from Sophie because that message has indeed been retracted. Wipe it from your minds. Pretend it never happened. Okay? Zip. Done. Hello, Mustard, Barry, Neil, and Sophie, says Andrew. No, I didn't do one, says Mustard. Livestream. I use my evening editing the Monday video. Oh, right, jolly good. This is the best YouTube channel, says Dave Smith. No nose hairs. Oh, yeah. Carefully trimmed, dear boy, carefully trimmed. Lots of Wellington people used to make the trip to Lacra just for the great pie shop. I didn't see a pie shop, Skick. Where's the pie shop? I didn't see that. Simone, oh, right. Simone has bought exhaust, number plate lights, tow bar, and tailgate rubber. All in all, 150 quid. Yeah, well, TC is well worth it. She walked in, kicked a child over, and left, says Neil. Who? Oh, Soph. Yeah, well, Talacra is not too far from Wellington, is it? Gosh, Wellington. There are some very nice bridges in Wellington. I'll give it that. You've got some interesting bridges going over the canal. You've got some nice bridges going over the old river. Yeah. I'd never been to Wellington before. The first time that I went to Wellington was the very first time that I ever went to Wellington. Never been there before. Feature number 2. Have you ever been somewhere for the first time that you've never been to before? There's an interesting question. I don't imagine many of you will. I thought you might have stopped off to see the old ferry ship. That would have been good, says Skick. Well, we didn't really have time, mate. And that's not what the video was about, really, was it? It was about telling the story of a certain night. And on that evening, night, whatever, we didn't stop off to see the ferry ship, so we didn't do it in the video. I assume you mean the one by the one where there's a market now? Yeah, just some random old ship lodged up on the edge of the sea somewhere. Quite bizarre. Quite bizarre indeed. Oh, John Stoodley is here. Hey, chat. Hey, Boaty. Sophie says it was really good. I signed all of the DBS check, ready, and once it's back, I'll be working there. It's been really good. We went to Allegro Man's and Paul's Yard with Joe, and it's been a great day. Oh, it sounds it. Allegro Man and the Yard of Dreams with Captain Mustard. My goodness gracious me. As days go, they don't get much better than that, do they? Good old Allegro Man. You got to love him, haven't you? Now, I've got a question about Allegro Man's MGF. Well, I've got a few questions about Allegro Man's MGF, actually. Having seen it on the video. One, is it for sale? Two, if it is, how much? And three, is that a genuine SE in Wedgwood? Or has it just had somebody just tacked the old SE on there? So if that's a genuine SE in Wedgwood, that is a pretty rare motor car. A pretty rare motor car. And will command quite a sizable premium over and above a more normal car. I've been to Warrington quite a bit, says Captain Mustard. I never realised how exciting it was. Yeah, well, it's a genuine SE, says Neil. Got all the spec. Yeah, but that can be added, can't it? That can be added. Yeah, it's got the leather and, well, I didn't see... you didn't get to see all of the spec in the video. I just saw that somebody put a comment about adding on the SE from Tesco. So I wondered if maybe it wasn't actually a genuine one, because they only did, how many is it? Oh, I think it was in the low 600s. SEs produced in Wedgwood, and obviously there's been quite a rate of attrition. So Digital Dash proved that Digital Dash proved that older Fs had a speedo drive on the gearbox that was analog. Well, what does that prove? I'm confused now. What does that prove? I mean, yeah, I'm definitely confused by that. I mean, the digital speedometer came in with the facelift Mark 1, didn't it? Along with a lot of other things. I still think that a top spec facelift Mark 1 or a top spec early facelift F would probably be the choice of the bunch. Or would it? Maybe it wouldn't, because the suspension is a pain in the ass. You'd have to change the suspension, I think. You can't retrofit a digital dash into an F. I still don't get what you were on about there, Neil. I don't get what the fact that it's got what the digital dash proves, other than the fact that it's a facelift MGF. It's a genuine SE, says Mustard, and it's on eBay for about £2,000. should sell at that, will sell at that. Wedgwood SEs normally go for between 3 and 4. Every time I tell you something of interest, Mustard, say Skick, you say that you don't have the time. Ah, right. Ah, there we are. Oh, Mr. Stephen Paddy from Port Sunlight in the Whittle, the Leisure Peninsula, and a peninsula that I glimpsed from the beach on Monday. Oh, we should talk about those. Well, I'll talk about those in a minute, actually. How are you, Jason, dear sir, says Mr. Stephen Paddy. Also, how has Sophie's day been? It's nice seeing you live tonight on here. Where is your sidekick, M11? M11 is knackered. So M11 will not be appearing on mine tonight or tomorrow because she's on with her Skin and Blister, the lovely Tracy. But she'll be back on at some point, no doubt. Ah, I see, Skick, says Mustard. How much spare time do you think I have? Ah, well, I've had a new idea for a Wales video, and I'm kind of excited about it. But I'm also kind of not excited and thinking, honestly, I'm like a child tonight, partly because I'm hungover and sleep deprived, but I'm like a child that wants to throw all of the toys out the pram and say, well, I'm not doing it anymore. I'm taking my ball home. Honestly. And I knew this would happen. I said this would happen. I said I knew that the Welsh video would die on its ass. And it's doing exactly that. And it's kind of frustrating and disheartening because you put your heart and soul into something, you put a few quid into something, the end result is as good as you hoped, or in this case, actually a lot better than you dared to hope. And it still dies on its arse and does nothing. And it's not a reflection on the film itself. It's a reflection on YouTube. Because again, I've been anally analyzing the analytics. Well, that's a tricky thing to say. Anally analyzing the analytics. And my click-through impressions rate is brilliant. More than double the YouTube average. So in other words, what that means is your click-through impressions rate is the percentage of people who, having been shown your video, by YouTube on their home screen or suggested videos or whatever, how many people actually click on it, right? And a normal impressions click-through rate would be something like 4%, 5%, something like that. And the click-through rate on that video, last time I looked, was over 15%, which is insanely high. But then you look at the impressions, which is the number of times that YouTube have shown it to somebody, and that figure is really, really, really low. So in other words, more people than average are clicking on the film when it's popping up for them, but YouTube are just not showing it to many people. And that's really frustrating. So it's really difficult not to think, well, balls to it. I'm buggered if I'm doing that again. I'm not giving up a day to film it. I'm not lashing out 100, 200, 300 quid and then spending 3 or 4 days agonizing over the production and the editing and whatnot, so that no bastard watches it, and it makes about £1.85p. But then I knew this was going to happen, which is why I put on record in a daily diary and on a live stream that, look, this is going to happen. I've really enjoyed doing it. I want to do more, and maybe you have to be in it for the long run. And maybe at some point, one of them will get picked up by the algorithm. People will watch it. Then they'll look on the playlist, and then they'll watch all of the others. And the next thing you know, the channel's going to be absolutely huge. I mean, it can happen. It does happen. You know, it's happened to at least one person that we know, probably more. But even though I told myself all of that, and even though I expected it, it's still a bit of a kick in the balls, to be honest. I mean, maybe, you know, I mean, the rule with YouTube is you make stuff that people want to watch. And maybe it's a really well put together film, but maybe it's not the kind of thing that people want to watch. But I kind of don't believe that. I mean, the feedback from the people that have watched it is brilliant, and I'm really, really grateful for it. Anyway, so I've had an idea of somewhere to go for another one, and this one is really out there, but I think I could really do something with it. And it has got a personal element to it and a poignancy, because it was somewhere that I went on my last ever road trip with my father before he died. So if that's not bloody poignant, then I bloody well don't know what is. And it's an amazing place. A lot of the vast majority of people, including you lot, will never have heard of it, won't be aware of it. And I suppose for some people it might be quite boring, but I just think there's a story there to be there that could be told, and it would be an amazing journey to get to it, you know, on the right day in the right car. So I'm excited about that, or about, you know, thinking about that. And there's still, I mean, the big one would be Llandudno, because there's so many stories to tell about Llandudno, so much personal stuff. You know, going there as a kid, the first thing I ever remember doing with not my parents, just my mother, was going on a coach trip to Llandudno when I was very, very, very young. And all I can remember is, I mean, I was so young that we were still living in Birmingham. It was before we moved to Worcestershire. And all I can remember is that we went on this coach that had double wheels at the front, not two together, but two wheels in the front behind each other. I remember noticing that. I was a very small boy, and this was so long ago that there was a picture taken of me on the seafront or the pier at Llandudno holding a monkey. I mean, how long ago was it that kind of thing stopped being legal? But that used to be a thing, you know, holiday destinations or whatever. You had your picture taken with a monkey. So that's where Llandudno started. And then it's just kind of been a constant all through my life. There have been numerous dates in Llandudno. It was somewhere that I often took dates. So that would go into it. All of those, well, all the ones that I can remember. I certainly remember taking Newcastle there. Oh, I definitely took, what was her name? Christ, I can't remember her name. But I definitely took her there. What was her name? Oh, God. Was it? Oh, I want to say Nikki, but it wasn't Nikki. She just looked like Nikki Norbury. God, no, I can't remember her name, but I remember that we went. And I remember that we went in a Vauxhall Nova saloon, a 3-door Vauxhall Nova saloon in white, one of those ones that had tires that were narrower than an average bicycle. God, it was a hellish thing. She was on a family holiday with her family, oddly enough. And they were the type of family who thought that booking a static caravan in Towin was a great idea for a holiday. I really did. Fucking hell. And so when I had a day off, I went up there and I said I'd stay the night, go back to work the next day kind of thing. And all I remember was staying in this poxy caravan thing on this poxy site. And I just thought this is an insight into how prisoners of war must have felt, although I think that they had better accommodation. All I wanted to do was to tunnel out of the place and get back to civilization. But yeah, that was definitely a thing. And then, of course, I honeymooned in Llandudno. Not entirely. My honeymoon started out at my cottage in Wales. Actually, the first night was at the hotel here. Second night was at my cottage in Wales, our cottage in Wales, whatever. Third and fourth night were at Lake Vyrnwy, which should be an episode and probably will be if I do keep doing them. And then we spent the rest of it in Llandudno, in one of the most amazing hotels I've ever been in. God knows if it's still there. I'll have to try and find out what it was called for when I do film this, find out if it's still there. I would imagine it's not, because it was known as, I can't remember what the owner's name was, but it was known as his folly, because he owned quite a few hotels in Llandudno. And this was an important place. And he threw ridiculous amounts of money at it. It was the most stupidly expensive hotel in the whole of the UK. And yet it still ran at a loss because it was so ridiculously opulent and plush. And yeah, we stayed in the suite, the top suite in that. And then, even after that, there were God. I mean, we had a day there with Boo and Little Miss. I took Chinese Madam there. So there'd be loads of stuff to do on a Llandudno episode. Of course, there's the Barry Island episode that I want to do with Sean, and he's up for that. But yeah, I'm feeling a bit conflicted about it at the moment because I'm right in the shit financially. We've had another 2 direct debits bounced today. I haven't got a pot to piss in because, as little as Monday cost, it did cost some money, and I just haven't got some money spare. So to do any more, then I really am going to have to get harsh and start selling things. And I'm thinking, why would I want to put myself through that? But, I don't know. You've got to have a bit of pleasure in life, haven't you? And I enjoy doing them, even if they do die on their ass. And there's still this insane thing at the back of my mind saying that if I build up a catalogue of them, of the Welsh series, and they're there on a playlist, they're there to be watched. It only takes one to start doing okay. Bring some people in. They then watch the rest of them. They subscribe. They blah, blah, blah. And, like I say, it could be a really long burner, slow burner. Took Sean 12 years to become an overnight success. And that's only going to happen if you've got the stuff there. It's not going to happen if I just keep putting out, daily diaries and Boaties and noshes. You've got to have some worthwhile stuff up there for you to suddenly be discovered, possibly at some point in the future. So, but the idea I came up with tonight, that would be, well, I think that could be really good. It's not going to be a place that many people know about. I doubt it's a place with much of a presence on YouTube. And you would have to have a bit of romance in your soul for it to appeal to you. And I don't mean romance in the literal sense. I just mean that you would have to have an appreciation of that which could be seen as meaningless, but in fact is so beautiful and meaningful in so many ways. Probably not making much sense there. Oh, going back to Skick versus Mustard. I've got no interest in how much spare time you have. At the end of the day, I've tried with you and I've given up, says Skick. So, well, that's you told Mustard, isn't it? I sent the M11 a friend request on Fastbook, says Simone. Oh, well, there we are. That's good. That's good. A little bit of community bonding. That's got to be nice. She sent me one, Simone, and I accepted it. I'm dictating this, says Sherry, bent over. Hello, I'm dictating this bent over. Well, it's a promising start to a comment, isn't it? I'm dictating this, says Sherry, for the third time, bent over a washing machine in the spin cycle. Yeah, well, God, sorry, that's just bringing back memories of the old twin tub that the ladies used to sit on to make sure the lid didn't pop open. Yeah, we know why you were sitting on it, my lovelies. I'm dictating this for the fourth time, bent over a washing machine in the spin cycle. A boring question and a comment about your video. Oh, thank you, Sherry. I left a lot of commentary on your video. It was very lovely. Thank you, Sherry. And I have seen them and I will, of course, reply. I reply to every single comment left on every single video of mine. I massively appreciate it when people take time not only to watch the video, but also to leave a comment. I'm really grateful for it. It does help with the algorithm. And I think the very least I can do is to reply to every single comment. Now, if you're getting 10,000 comments, I appreciate that can't be done. But if you're a relatively small channel like me, and people are kind enough to show an interest and go over and above and leave a comment, then I think it's I think it's downright rude, to be honest, not to respond to it. So if you leave a comment on any of my videos, I will read it and I will reply. And that's an absolute promise, at least unless I get massive and get 50 squillion comments on a video. And let's face it, that's not likely. And then a query. What hours do you work? Well, that's about to change, Sherry. But at the moment, I work evenings. Obviously, I work in a restaurant. I don't work. So on Mondays, we are closed, which is why Monday is my filming day or my yard day. It's my day off, basically. So that's when I do things. Otherwise, I work in the evenings. Shorter hours on Tuesday, Wednesday, slightly longer on Thursday, longer still on Friday and Saturday, obviously busier restaurant nights, and then back to a little bit shorter on Sunday, but pretty much evenings. But on the 1st of next month, darlings, that is probably, or very, very, very probably, that's going to be changing when I begin to take on this new role, which is going to involve additional hours at some point during the day. And I'm quite excited about that. And then when things really take off and, we open the hotel or we start the Airbnbs, whatever, then God only knows what hours I'm going to be working then. God only knows. But, to be honest, I know I'm an old fart, but I'm still at my best if I'm working effectively 24/7. That's, I'm an old Welsh pit pony. I was born to work. I'm at my happiest when I'm working insane hours. I'm at my healthiest, both physically and emotionally. And it's just what suits me. I hate, having a day off has always been like having a mental breakdown for me. I don't know what to do with myself. And that's why I don't have days off. I find them incredibly depressing. So even though I have a day off from the restaurant, when the restaurant isn't open these days, I make sure that that is still a day of work, but work of a different sort. I've told you before that after Chinese Madam and before YouTube, after Chinese Madam and before YouTube, when Monday was just a day off and I was here at home, God, it was the hardest day of the week, the hardest days of my life. Just an endless evening with nothing to do, stretching out in front of you. I hated it. I absolutely hated it. But I love my Mondays now. I get my day at the yard with Mustard. I get extra time with you guys in a live, or I get to go out and film and do a road trip, something like that. But days off, not for me. Holidays, not for me. Holidays are okay if you're doing something, but the idea of going on one of those holidays where you go to a resort hotel and lounge around and get drunk at lunchtime, and God, honestly, I'd rather go to a concentration camp. Hate it. But there you go. That's a long answer to a short question, Sherry, and thank you for it. And again, thank you for your lovely comments on the video. John says, I've not heard anything from the hospital yet about a new appointment, so I'm not too anxious about it. But I'm on strong medication for the foreseeable, Boaty. Well, I don't want to make you anxious, but I would be if I were you. I mean, if they've got you in for a really intricate, and from the sound of it, from what you were saying, touch and go brain surgery there, and it was cancelled because the surgeon was unwell, then you've got to assume that that's better done sooner rather than later. So I'm amazed they've let it go more than a couple of days, John, to be honest. And it's been what, a couple of weeks now, and you're still not any the wiser. Again, I'm glad you're not anxious, but if it was me, I'd be, knocking on their door and sort of saying, well, come on, what's occurring? What's going on here? Let's get it done. Boaty, we've had a fantastic day at the yard, me and Joe say so. Good for you. Here we go. Mustard says, sorry, Skick. I don't feel that I'm missing out on anything by putting my efforts into things. Hang on. Hang on a minute. Sorry, Skick. I don't feel that I'm missing out on anything by putting my effort into things I'm not that interested in. I will ignore my own interests just for you soon. Thanks. I think Skick's point was that, as I alluded to earlier, then if you're YouTubing and you want it to be successful, then I suppose you should give some thought to what people might want to watch, in addition to your own interests. But there we are. Throughout my life, says Skick, I've had to do things I have no interest in, but I did it because that's what the consumer wanted, and I wanted to make a living. Well, yeah. I mean, without wishing to get involved in a personal discussment between Skick and Mustard, then, you know, for a lot of people, work isn't interesting. Work is doing what you need to do to pay your bills, put your kids through school and through university, to put food on the table, to give them a holiday in the summer holidays, all of that sort of thing. And if you are fortunate enough, if you're fortunate enough to love what you do to make a living, then you're a very lucky person indeed. Or you're a very clever person indeed, because believe me, we would all make the best of it, but the majority of people don't love what they do to bring in the money that they need for themselves and their family. You know, I doubt many people get orgasmic pleasure from stacking shelves at Tesco, for example. So, you know, it's very much a means to an end. So I take Skick's point in that. Now, and I know you can't mention this name. I've said this before. I read Jimmy Savile's autobiography when I was very young. And one thing he said struck a massive chord with me. And his advice, certainly what he did himself, when it comes to making a living and making your way through life, his idea was you find out what you love to do, and then you find a way to get paid for doing it. And that really struck a chord with me. And it's pretty much what I did. I've spoken about this before, but all through my life, I've done things that I love to do, and I found a way of getting paid for doing it. Started on the bike, you know. I loved to ride. I loved to train. I loved to race. So I found a way to get paid for it. I became a professional athlete. I love cars and I love playing with cars. So I found a way to get paid for it. I became a classic car dealer and auctioneer. I love to sing and to socialize and to sing and drink and sing and have fun with my friends. So I found a way to get paid for that as well, etc., etc., etc. And you know, I'm with Mustard on that one. That in an ideal world, then yeah, get paid for doing what you love. But there is one caveat, and that is you must get paid. And whilst that was always my ideal, and as it happened, it worked out for me, I always promised myself, long before I had a partner or family or anything like that, I always promised that my first priority would be my family, because I had a father whose first priority was always himself. Not entirely his fault. He had various mental health or emotional issues, but his priority was always himself. And as a result of that, I was brought up in poverty or near poverty, because he would always only do the very, very bare minimum. Oh, gosh, I wasn't expecting a caller. Hold on, let me just...
Hello, Boaty.
Hang on. I've lost you. Let's get you on. Right. Good evening, mystery caller.
Hello, Boaty. How are you?
Oh, it's Soph. Hello, darling. How's things?
Hello. Good, thank you. I'm just giving you an update because I weren't sure if you read my messages.
Oh, okay. I'm probably behind. I'm always behind.
You need to keep up.
Yeah, well, easier said than done, darling.
So today plan was this morning, get up and go to the induction at 10 o'clock.
Okay.
So walked in, being a bit professional, was in the office with a lady, obviously asking stuff about the jobs, what I've done, if I've got any experience with children. But I haven't got any experience, but I'm starting to do my course by doing that, so they'll help me do that.
Oh,
and then
great.
I've sent off my DBS check today.
Yeah.
I've just got to wait for that. And then obviously after my DBS, I'll be starting on every Monday between 8 till 4.
Oh, fantastic. I'm so chuffed for you. This is going to be amazing for you. And I know you're going to be brilliant. I know you are. I saw you with Mustard Girls. You're a total natural.
So yeah, I had to walk around as well because I had to go and see obviously all the children and the staff there, meeting all the lovely girls there.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's really amazing how they've done the little nursery because it's separate ages. So as you walk in, there's different areas for like little babies itself. Then you've got, I think it was up to 6 and 5 years old.
Okay.
And then like it was separate, so it was quite like safe.
Right.
But after that, I finished there. Joe basically dropped me off and picked me up.
Bless him.
And then
well done, Joe.
We went, and then we went down to pick some seats up for Joe and some other bits from Leg Roman. And then we went down to Paul's Yard, and we've had a lovely day and a lovely drive.
Oh, fantastic!
So that was, I've had a brilliant day.
I'm really glad. I'm really pleased for you, my lovely. This is.
I was going to say, I'm going to pass you on to someone else. Someone else wants to say hello.
Okay.
Hi, how you doing there? It's Sean James Cameron. How are you doing?
Go deeper. Go deeper.
I can't go deeper, you know. I can't do it. You know.
How are
I
you?
Can't go deeper when I'm doing a Welsh accent. It's really hard.
How are you, you wonderful big lump of manly marvellousness, you?
Oh, living the dream, as always.
You sound knackered.
I am knackered.
Oh, bless you. Bless you. What time did you get in from work?
I got in bang on 10, so tomorrow I'm on till the same, and then I got my weekend back, but, you know. Yeah.
Good lad.
Also, that TF160 is better than the 135 that you've got. I'm sorry to say it.
I'm not having that. Not having that.
No, the bloke told me to put my foot down in it. I put my foot down in it, and it was mint.
Yeah. But how often are you at that point in the rev range? I would rather have the torque lower down than the peak power coming in at over 4.5.
Yeah, I agree. But when the mood's right, it's right.
Yeah, I totally get that. But also factor in that the VVCs are just less reliable.
I'll agree there. They are a little bit less reliable, but for the funness of them, I have to pick a 160.
Yeah, I mean, if you've got if it's a pure high days and holidays card, and you've got plenty of funds, then I agree that it is the theoretical ideal top of the tree. But in real life and real driving, I mean, if you're going around a track, then the 160 is going to piss all over even a mapped 135. But in real day-to-day driving, I love the fact that that I've actually got torque, and the K maps that I've got on the K maps map on Mingebag is absolutely brilliant. There's shed loads of torque. It gives you between 4 and 7 mpg more as well. Minge bag is surprisingly economical. And I just love the fact that you're not, when you're feeling a little bit lazier, you don't have to drop a cog to actually make some progress, whereas you do with the VVC.
I agree there, but for pure driving, the factor of driving it, the 160 to rev the nuts off it to get it to make the power is more of a driving thing.
I'll give you that. I'll give you that. Have you disappeared?
No, I haven't disappeared. I'm still here.
Oh, you're there. You're there. You're there. Okay. Well, yeah, I think we're kind of in agreement there then.
When I get the Source Turbo dumped on the diesel, I'm going to have a wager with you, and I'm going to put it out there.
Oh, go on then. Okay.
I'm going to bet a crisp £10 note.
Oh.
That the diesel will wipe the floor with Stigbit.
What, the ZTT?
Yep.
Wipe the floor with Stigbit?
Wipe the floor.
In what sense? What kind of test?
I'm saying round corners. So we'll do the snake pass again.
Okay.
Straight line. And I've done you in fuel economy anyways.
Yeah, well,
so that's going to be my wager. Best of three. Winner takes it.
I'm just trying to think. I might not take that. Having seen what it's the M47, isn't it? I've got no idea. I don't know what the M47R is like when it's been tweaked and played about with. But
so at the moment, with the exhaust, the bigger intercooler, the bigger boost pipes, and the Piper air filter, it's 160. With the Source Turbo and the better induction kit on it, it'll push 190 to 195.
Yeah, you see, now I'm remembering that the L series with a map on it was kind of pissing all over the 2-litre KV6, and I'm kind of thinking that I might not take that bet, mate. To be honest,
it's not a safe bet, is it?
It's not. I mean, I'll do the challenge and I will love it and I'll try my best. But yeah, I wouldn't put a crisp £10 note on it because I think that it could be very close. Very close. I mean, my 75 CDTI in that had a box on it. But only a very basic box, and that was more than quick. So a properly sorted one is probably going to be a bloody flying machine, isn't it?
Yep. Even with that back box that I gave you on Stigbit Tonic, we're going to be pushing probably about at best 193, even if you've lost some as well.
What does that box add? Is it going to add about 5 brake?
It says 5 brake horsepower.
Okay.
Because it's a bit more free flowing. It'll give you a nicer bassy tone as well.
Oh, that's what I'm looking forward to. When I drove him the other night, and I'd been driving Minge bag, and I thought, well, he's too quiet. He's too quiet. I want a bit of noise out my ass.
Yeah, it'll be a lot louder with that exhaust on.
I'm really looking forward to that. Really looking forward to that.
Well, we'll sort it out next month. I'm going to love and leave you anyway, so you can crack on with the live. I'll speak to you in a bit.
Okay, matey. See you, Soph. See you, Neil.
See you. Bye-bye.
Oh, bless them. 2 of my absolute favourite people. Right, let's get back to the old comments. I've forgotten what I was talking about. I think I was saying that... before I had a partner or a family or anything like that, the one thing I promised myself was that having been brought up the way that I was, my parents were amazing. I mean, they were fantastic people. And in many ways, they equipped me fantastically for life, socially and intellectually, definitely. But, you know, Dad was his own first priority. He was lazy, bless him. And I always swore that I didn't care if I needed to do the most boring job in the world and I needed to work all of the overtime in the world. I always swore that I'd do anything I needed to do so that my kids had everything they needed. I remember the shame of being at school, and things like we couldn't afford football boots one year, and I turned up in my pumps, and I had to stand against the wall for the duration of the games lesson, because you weren't allowed on if you didn't have football boots, and we couldn't afford to buy any. And a letter was sent home, and I remember that my father was no bloody use, was he? And my mum went through the Redditch advertiser, found some second-hand boots for sale, and we scraped together some money, went on the bus to another council estate, bought these second-hand football boots. God almighty, I've forgotten about this. And stuff like that. And I never wanted that for my family. And we never had holidays. All of my friends, they went on holidays. In the school holidays, they would go away on holiday. We never did. And I just swore that I would never make my kids go through that. That I would do, if I had kids, if I was lucky enough to have kids, and I wanted kids more than anything else in the world, I swore that I would work my arse off so that they had everything and they would never feel less than compared to their friends. But as it happens, I was lucky enough to be able to provide that, but at the same time that doing what I love to do. So it's an ideal, and I would encourage anybody to aim towards an ideal, but have a backup thing. God, and time has marched on. It's actually time to start saying goodnight, and I feel like we've only just got going. Let's whiz through some comments. Boaty says, Barry Scrotter, do you think you've had many new subscribers since the Wales video went out? No, I don't, Barry. In fact, I think I've lost quite a lot. People watched that Wales video, and while they were watching it, they unsubscribed. My subscriber count from that video is a minus. Nobody watched that video and subscribed, but people watched that video and unsubscribed. Don't ask me why. Obviously, what I thought was a good and worthwhile video, some people disagree with. So basically, I've now got 10 subscribers fewer than I had before I put that video out. And then Sophie was telling us what she told us on the phone. Hello, Rocket Max, the Elton John show. Is this an odd point to join? Ha ha, Mr. Boaty and gang. How are you, Max? Lovely to see you here, mate. Hope everything's wonderful with you. Foot fetish, says Barry Scrotter. That's where the money is at, apparently. Oh, dear. Tonight, Boaty, says Dave Smith, I'm listening to Willow's song from the Wicker Man soundtrack. There we are. Hello, Mustard's here. Joe is here, sorry. Yeah, Skick and Joe says Paul v Skick. Yeah, they are going at it a bit. And basically, to paraphrase, Mustard is suggesting that Skick does a live stream or makes some videos and kind of puts his money where his mouth is and demonstrates how to do these things. I'm in between the two, to be honest. I'm in between the two because, yeah, it's very easy to criticize what somebody else does, but also the point of view of a viewer should never be entirely ignored, because there's always a possibility that if one person thinks something, other people might think that as well. And that's not something that you would be totally wise to ignore. And just because somebody can't do something themselves or chooses not to do something themselves doesn't mean that they haven't got an insight into what you do. I've had lots of advice from people that don't make videos themselves, and a lot of it has turned out to be right. Now, if you're riding along on the crest of a wave and everything is doing wonderfully, then, you know, you're quite entitled to tell anybody else to bugger off when they offer their opinion. But if you're still trying to get there, then, you know, it's probably worth considering any opinion that anybody throws your way and running it round to see if it's got any validity at all. And possibly, even if you think it hasn't, possibly trying a little something down that route. Because, you know, and this is the lesson. If you're doing YouTube, then the only way that YouTube will work is if you make stuff that people want to see. And if you just want to make stuff that's of interest to you, great, fine, brilliant. But if not enough people want to watch that, then it's kind of pointless saying, well, they should. More people should want to watch this and I should make more money. If they don't, they don't. So you've got the choice then, haven't you? You either decide, well, I want to do what I want to do and I'll keep on doing it. And if that means that I don't earn the money that I would like to earn, then I'll do something else like I do. You know, YouTube doesn't earn me much money, so I've got a full-time job. And that means that I can, well, I mean, I'm still poor as a church mouse. But it does mean that you can kind of indulge yourself. But if you're not getting the views or the income that you would like to get, then yeah, you kind of need to look at changing. There's no point in just saying that, oh, I'm going to carry on doing what I'm going to do. And, you know, if things don't change, they'll stay the same. And as somebody, I can't remember who it was, once said that the height of insanity is doing the same thing, but expecting a different outcome. If YouTube isn't doing what you want it to do it differently. That's got to be the bottom line. It might not need to be a massive change, but again, take Sean as an example. 12 years doing the same thing and doing it really well and not getting anywhere. And then there was a change and suddenly, boom, it's a completely different world, a completely different situation. And there's probably a lesson there. That's why I wanted to do the Welsh thing. And, you know, maybe it won't work. Maybe every video that I make will completely die on its arse and just be an expensive mistake, although I will have got a lot of personal pleasure and satisfaction from doing it. But maybe commercially, it won't work. And then, you know, maybe I would need to try something else. But that's the thing, isn't it? That's the bottom line is, don't expect a different outcome from doing the same thing, because that normally just doesn't work, does it? So yeah, so in the Skick v mustard thing, then I can see both sides of that argument. I'll just whiz through these comments because it's kind of time to go, isn't it? Neil says, I couldn't agree more. If you enjoy what you do, it's no longer a job, it's a hobby. I love my job to death, so I give 110% to it, and it shows in my figures and customer service scores. Brilliant. I'm going to do OnlyFans, says Mustard, with my huge wang. That will suit me and Skick too. I love my Tesco job, says Joe. I thought you would, mate. I thought you would. I loved it when I did it too. It's honest work. It's good for you physically, and it can pay quite well. So I'm really glad you're enjoying that. Can anyone phone in, says Dave Smith, like multicolored swap shop? Yeah, absolutely. The phone number's out there. Just call in whenever you fancy. Skick, says Joe, your advice is fantastic and very helpful, but I will admit sometimes it does come across. Hang on. Oh, right. Yes. Okay. Dear me. Okay. Right. We're having a bit of debate now whether advice can, heartfelt. Oh dear. Well, sometimes you have to be cruel to be kind, don't you? And again, I'm torn between the two. Joe saying, Skick, your advice is fantastic and very helpful, but I will admit sometimes it does come across in a nasty way. And Paul works bloody hard with everything that goes on, so just cut him some slack. Joe, I agree. And Paul does work bloody hard, but I still say that, if it's not working, it's not working. And if it's not working and you're okay with that, and you're not suffering because it's not working, because you're doing something else, and your family isn't suffering because you're doing something else, fine. And you just say, okay, it's not working, but I'm happy doing it, and it doesn't matter. I'm not hurting anybody. Then there's no argument. But and I need to listen to my own advice here. If it's not working and you're not paying your bills, you need to do something different. And that's exactly the lesson that I've just learned. I've had a go at this YouTube thing. I love it. I think it's worthwhile in terms of the community aspect. You guys mean the world to me. You know that. I love the videos that I'm making now. I love and I want to carry on doing it. But I've got to pay my bills. So, you have to make compromises. So instead of trying to do YouTube every day, then I'm taking on a different job, a lot more hours, a lot more responsibility, and that will bring in more income. Hopefully I will then be able to pay my bills. And it means that I'm going to be doing YouTube pretty much just on a Monday. And that's okay. That's a compromise you need to make, because you've got to pay your bills. At the end of the day, that's what counts. You've got to pay your bills. And there'll come a point where you have to just say, okay, I've got to look at this. I've got to look at this again. And whatever people's advice is or isn't, then it's no point in people saying to you, "You stick to your guns. Don't you dare change. I think you're brilliant. You carry on doing what you're doing." But if you're not paying your bills, can't work, can it? So you have to make little tweaks and little compromises, and maybe things will come back. So again, I'm seeing all sides of the doings here. So I'm just reading these to see if I should read them out or not. Okay. Oh. Okay, right. Most of this I don't need to be reading out, do I? Oh dear me. So I'm just reading through these comments. I'm not going to read them out. Okay, well, you need to go through the comments yourself, and you might have an opinion, or you might not. They don't need to be read out, to be honest. It's quite late at night. There might be some beverages involved. There are always going to be differences of opinion and personality clashes within any community, whether it's real life or online, and that's just the way things are. But yeah, all I'll say about the whole thing is that nearly saying that small businesses should be praised and not pissed on from a great height. And I agree with pretty much everything that everybody's saying, but I will throw into the mix. Bills have got to be paid, and families have got to be looked after. And that should be in my book, anyway. It's not for me to speak for anybody else, but in my book, number one priority should be the people who rely on you. And that's the way that I've always gone about it. I would never have been. I'm trying to think. Let me give you an example. I wanted to do the. God, I'm going way back now. So, oh God, this is going to be too long a story, because I'm going to have to tell you things that maybe you don't know about. The car dealership thing, there was a time before I ran it where I was manager there. and I had a fallout and I left. And that was the point. I'll tell you the full story another time when I've got more time. And that was when I set up the promotions company and singing thing and whatnot. But I had a fiance who relied on me, and she wanted to start a family and all of that sort of thing. So I wanted to take a chance and see if I could set up that side of things. And I did. But at the same time that I did that, then I went back, and this was really in for a dig. I've been managing a mighty big car dealership. And I went back to the place that I worked as a student where I delivered pizzas. And I became once again a full-time delivery driver in the evenings. And then I worked on building the promotions thing and whatnot during the day. So in other words, I had a full-time job that looked after my fiance, paid the bills, made sure that we could have a reasonable life. And I chased my dreams in the time where I wasn't earning the money that she and I needed me to earn, if that makes sense. So yeah, I'm in the middle of it all. And this might be the title of the live stream. Chase your dreams, but pay your bills. There you go. Debt is a burden that can break people. Yeah, I know that. I know all about that. Sherry says, I feel like I owe you a semi-apology before you go. When I seemed to complain that I wanted more mushy when mustard turned up, thinking it was going to become comedic, I was wrong because it didn't turn out that way. Thank you. That's in relation again to the Wales video. And yeah, it did turn out sentimental, which satisfied me very much. And by the way, I was doing laundry tonight. Family come before YouTube, says Jimmy Quinn. Yeah, well, I think they should. Project Nigel, says Sherry. I wasn't complaining about you. You are very charming and very handsome. He is. I just thought the script had been written for comedy at that point. I'm so glad I was wrong. I did try to make. I did try to get a balance between a bit of comedy and a bit of pathos, and I think I got the balance about right. And a few people have commented on that, which I was very grateful for, including the M11, who said that the element of amusement peppered throughout the video worked just perfectly. So, right, well, shall we leave it at that, darlings? I think this is a good point to leave, isn't it? It's been interesting, and good night, Peter P. I welcome debates like this on our live streams. I raised this myself yesterday or the day before when I said, you know, am I daft to invest so much time, effort, hope, optimism into something that has shown no sign of working? And, you know, given that we're on YouTube and some of us are content creators and have channels and whatnot, I think it's a worthwhile debate to have. And I welcome the contributions to the debate, and I think that they're all worthwhile, and I think that they're all important. I will disagree with anybody who says that you're wasting your time, stop doing it. I will disagree with that. I will also disagree with people who say you should absolutely keep doing it to the exclusion of all else and keep chasing your dream. I will disagree with that as well. For me, and this is my personal opinion, and opinions are like arseholes, everybody's got one. I think that it has to lie somewhere in the middle. And like I say, and this will be the title, chase your dreams, but pay your bills. And in terms of putting your money where your mouth is and leading by example, I'm doing exactly that. On the 1st of next month, I'm going to be taking on more responsibility, and I'm going to be having to throttle back a bit on all of the other stuff, because I'm going to be trying to make sure that my bills get paid and that I can pay off my debts, because that is ultimately the thing that you have to do. You know, you're never going to be happy chasing your dreams if you've got the bailiffs chasing you, or if your rent isn't paid, or if your credit card thing is overdue. You know what I'm talking about. And for me, I'm saying to myself that, okay, I can't obsess over YouTube 7 days a week, but where does that got you anyway? Hasn't really got you anywhere, has it? So I will still have my Mondays, and if the job works out and my income increases, then on Mondays I can make an amazing video, and I'll still have enough time to do all of the editing and production and whatnot, and maybe so I can keep my Wales videos going out, and that's what's important to me. And if they work, great. If it becomes something, great. If they don't, I'm not going to be having the bailiffs knocking on the door, hopefully. And I can assure you that I have had, in the last 2 weeks, I have had the bailiffs virtually knocking on the door. And it's no fun. So there we are. Let us leave it at that. Your video was great, Boaty, says Mustard. Mustard did message me on the night when he watched it, and I really appreciated that. Yeah, pity we didn't feature Wellington a bit more. Yeah, okay. Right, darlings. There has been no falling out in the making of this live stream. Opinions have been opined, and what I will say is that the people who have expressed opinions are nice people, and they only want the best for the people that they have expressed opinions about. So that is okay in my book. Right. Oh, God almighty. I was only going to go on until midnight. I need sleep and a bit. Oh, well, what the hell? What the hell? Go with it. All right, darlings, that is it from me. Join me again tomorrow night, same time, same place, 11:30, Saturday Night Live. I believe you've got loads of live streams to look at tomorrow, and you might be all live streamed out by the time that I start. And if none of you want to turn up at 11:30, I completely understand, and I will go to bed early. Won't be the end of the world, but if Mustard's live streaming tomorrow, enjoy that. Remember, Tracy and the M11 are doing a joint live stream on something called Twitch. You might want to check that out. Check out the Facebook group, my Facebook group, Boaty's World, for details of it. And on that note, have a safe and peaceful night. Thank you all for watching. Much love to you all. Have the best day that you can tomorrow. And above all, take great care of yourselves. All right, my loves. That's it for Chew and Indeed. Bosh.